The skyline of Chicago has been Michael Jordan's town since virtually the day he stepped off the plane back in 1984. But last spring in the NBA Finals, I think Steve Kerr grabbed himself a piece of it. Just doing his job and doing what he does best in the NBA Finals. For more on that, back downstairs we go to Bill Weir.
Thanks, Dan. Anybody who's ever played a pickup basketball game anywhere knows the feeling that they just want to contribute. Even if you're a scrub, well, like yours truly, you just want to hit at least one shot to feel like you contributed to the team. Well, Steve Kerr is far from a scrub on this squad, but he feels a whole lot better about himself after the shot. Take a look.
It was so perfect last year, the way everything turned out. I mean, the three-point contest and the finals and hitting the shot. My alma mater won the NCAA title. You know, it really was the perfect year, and it's going to be tough to follow that up.
Fortunately for Steve Kerr, only Michael Jordan has to be Superman night in and night out. For lesser mortals, simple reflection is all that's required.
Believe me, I was thinking about it pretty often. And everybody was still talking about it, calling me up, congratulating me. But after a while, it wore off.
But what hasn't worn off is the limelight. It's amazing where hitting the shot that wins the championship will get you.
I did a lot of stuff this summer, mostly local stuff in Chicago, appearances, speaking engagements, corporate speaking, autograph shows, things like that. And it definitely picked up quite a bit. And that's one of the perks that goes with playing on the Bulls for one, and living in Chicago because this is a sports crazed town. And on top of that, hitting that shot, it just seemed to carry things over the top.
And at the Bulls rally in Grand Park last June, Steve told all of Chicago the real story behind his big shot.
When we called timeout with 25 seconds to go, we went into the huddle, and Phil told Michael, he said, "Michael, I want you to take the last shot." And Michael said, "You know, Phil, I don't feel real comfortable in these situations." And then Scotty came in and said, "You know, Phil, why don't we go to Steve?"
Now, however, a more humble version has emerged.
First of all, Michael made the play, so it wasn't like I took Stockton off the dribble, hung in the air, and let him go down and took the shot or something. I mean, it wasn't a great move. It was just a wide open 16-footer. I just remember the crowd. I remember the play unfolding exactly how Michael had sort of predicted, and he said, "I'll be ready because Stockton is going to come and double team me." And all I remember was the shot going in and the deafening roar. I didn't celebrate until after the final buzzer, but the crowd's reaction is what will always stay in my mind.
Whatever version you want to believe, the fact remains that Steve Kerr has carved a niche for himself in NBA history, one that will live forever on playgrounds across America.
It's amazing to me that it will be something that kind of lives in history. And I was taking that same shot in my driveway when I was 7 or 8 years old, only I was Jerry West or somebody like that, and just knowing that there are kids out there kind of reinventing that same shot in their driveways or on their playgrounds, it's kind of an awesome feeling.
Well, not a lot of people can echo those sentiments. Not a lot of people have experienced that kind of a feeling. One of them is joining our broadcast team this year, John Paxson. How did that sound? Was that almost a walk down memory lane listening to Steve talk about his experience?
Well, my first reaction was Steve's. When I made that shot in Phoenix, I thought about the times that I was in my driveway as a kid pretending I was someone else knocking down those shots. And even to this day, people ask what it felt like. And if Steve's anything like me, you have a tough time describing, because at that moment it's so awesome. And I'm just really happy for Steve Kerr because he's such a good guy and he deserved that moment.
I asked Steve if it came down to the same situation, who he would pick to take that shot. He said Michael. It's nice to see a little humility. How about you in that situation?
Well, you know what? It's funny how those things kind of wind up in your hands. You can't dictate what's going to happen, but given the same situation and a double team by John Stockton on Michael Jordan, I guarantee you Steve Kerr is going to get the shot and knock it in.
Very good. All right, John, thanks very much. We're going to send it back up to Dan Roan right now.
Okay, Bill, thanks. Yeah, you don't get a chance to call those shots, but when the opportunity arises, the Bulls have been fortunate to have a couple of great players to be able to take them in John Paxson and Steve Kerr. Well, we're just about to get to the ring ceremony coming up. championship trophies, championship rings, and we have a sneak preview of what's hanging overhead here at the United Center. You're the very first to see all 5 of those banners. This was from rehearsal this afternoon. The real thing coming up next when we continue.